Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC, and today I will be reviewing the Jones Mercury FASE bindings. Buckle up, it's gonna be a long one. If you're looking to shop online, go ahead and click those affiliate links down below, and that way you know you're getting them from a reputable dealer. I rode these bindings at Steamboat Resort. That being said, I did ride them for pretty much 3 weeks before this, but I'm choosing this day because it was the most diverse day where it was beautiful and sunny, a slight brisk wind there, but nothing too crazy where it wasn't just cutting through your jacket or anything like that. And the snow was amazing. They got over a foot of snow the previous 2 days, which was awesome. The groomers were fresh packed and just perfect, honestly. And then once you made it into the trees, that hike to terrain, there was just freshies and just good stashes everywhere. So we pretty much got a little bit of everything. I used my Ride Fuse boots and my Jones Stratos snowboard. When we're talking binding adjustability on these FASE Mercury bindings, it is very standard, just like you've come accustomed to with just regular Jones bindings, where it's just bare bones, not a lot of moving parts, which in my eyes, especially for this type of binding, is amazing. Pretty much makes it idiot proof. So if you guys are having problems with it, that's a you thing. But just to get into it, we do have just toolless ankle and toe straps here. So to get this off, you actually have to flip it all the way open. There is no screw head there, so whatever manpower you have is what is actually gonna turn it for you. So just keep that in mind. If you don't open it all the way, it's not coming off. It's still in the lock position, which is great, because that way you know when you're riding, it's not gonna come undone. Now, when we get to the forward lean back here, it is gonna be different. So on this forward lean, gotta pop that off, and then you will just flip this tab, twist it. Unlike pretty much every other binding out there where you don't twist them, you do have to twist this. It will slide down, twist it back, pop it into place. You're all good to go there. And then you can also adjust this toe ramp by unscrewing this. Oh. You can undo this toe ramp by unscrewing this, flipping it around, and it'll actually slide it down so you don't get that pesky toe drag. And you're also gonna use the disc, just like on every other Jones binding, to adjust that, center your boot into this binding so you're not too toe or heel heavy on it. Let's talk ankle strap and toe strap as well. As you notice, it is gonna be different than pretty much any standard binding that you're used to, mainly because this doesn't actually disconnect. That being said, in extreme cases, this will pop off. Super easy to feed right back in, no problem there, which is actually really nice for when you're getting that back foot out. If you're on uneven surfaces, almost falling, you can kick your foot out and this thing will just pop apart and you can just slide it right back in. So they did think of that there. Now, when we are talking about the overall stiffness of the ankle strap, it is gonna be stiffer than the, say, regular Mercury strap is, and that's for good reason. Since you don't have Skatetech on the chassis here, there is more lateral play underneath your foot. So they added this stiffer, more responsive ankle strap on it just to help you stay locked in with the board and be able to turn even the most aggressive board out there. When we're talking the toe strap, it is very rigid. I don't know if you could see on this one, it doesn't fit the square toe box too well, where it didn't fit my fuse toe box the best, but it doesn't move at all. Once this thing is locked in, it's not going anywhere. I really didn't even feel it on. I just knew my boot was totally locked in on this thing and I had zero problems. So going forward, I would like them to make this a little bit softer, just a little bit more moldable. But at this point, it is a solid toe strap. It's very durable. I've been riding them, like I said, for 3 weeks and I have zero problems with them. Even when I try to crank this ankle strap down as hard as I can, you can see on here, there are no just gouges out of the teeth or anything like that. So it works extremely well. They're gonna keep you nice and locked in. This binding is pretty much complete with the best ratchets that Jones makes, in my opinion. The toe ratchet has a lock on it, so it doesn't wanna move when it's on your foot. Keep that in mind, but there's also no play in this thing. This thing just grips and just wants to hold. Same with this ankle ratchet. There's a slight play in it, but really nothing to really speak of, where they might be some of the best, most sturdy on the market at the moment, where you just push it in, and you can get a lot of clicks per pull on this thing and it's gonna hold. It just feels extremely solid. And as I mentioned before, I haven't had any ratchet problems with it digging into the ladder or anything like that. It's just a really solid mixture of precision and just hold. While I have you here, you might as well like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of the scheduled programming we have coming out. The first thing you'll notice on the Highback is this weird little lever thing. So what that actually does is when you step into it, it's gonna close that Highback for you. I will say, you can fold this thing forward, no problem, when you need to pretty much get in the lift. So you know that problem you had with Supermatics when it would just open the back way? You get on one of those low chair lifts, it cracks your Highback, you're screwed, you gotta go find another. Not the case with these. You can kick it forward and just pop it back into place. It's really easy, just a quick hit backwards, and it's all locked in there. Now, I will say, since I have been riding these for 3 weeks, I expected a little bit of wear and tear on these two plastic pieces. There is absolutely zero wear and tear on them. There's not even a discoloration on either of the plastics, so it looks like it is gonna be nice and sturdy there. If you do need to change it, just a quick flathead screwdriver, pop these two sides out, take that pin out and just replace it if you have to. But I haven't had any problems with it and I've been quite rough on it. Now when we talk about the actual Highback, it is gonna have some lateral play to it, but they did add this reinforcing piece right on the back here, so it is gonna still be responsive. So you do get that power towards the inside, but a little bit more lateral play on the outside there, so when you are pressing or buttering around, you still get a little bit of outside play. Now when you are going heel toe, it is nice and responsive. You do have a little bit of padding on here. Not a big deal, I never felt it. It's nice and low enough where I have zero problems with the cuff of my boot. Overall, gonna be on that more responsive side. Don't expect it to be super soft like the Meteorite or anything like that, but it is gonna be nice and responsive. Still a little bit softer than the regular Mercury Highback. The overall flex on this binding is gonna be more on that responsive side rather than that loosey-goosey feel. That being said, since it doesn't have the Skatetech on here, it does have a little bit more lateral play to it. That is kind of remedied by having this stiffer ankle strap on it. But the main thing on this binding, which I was super happy about, is they fixed that dead spot that happens, say, on the Supermatic, where this binding flexes very freely with the board. It's not that super rigid, thick chassis on it, so it does allow that board to flex, and it doesn't stop anything or just feel completely dead underneath your foot. Now, that being said, it is definitely responsive heel toe, coupled with that Highback like I mentioned before. It's gonna put that pressure exactly where you want it. So when you wanna be on that toe side, it's gonna get you there and it's gonna hold really well. Just keep in mind, you are gonna have a little bit more lateral play, as I mentioned before, but it's still really nothing too crazy. Feel free to put them on a stiffer board and you're not gonna have any problems controlling it. Before we can actually talk about how this binding rides, we have to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that's getting in and out of this binding. It took me a couple runs to actually figure it out, but honestly, once you get this toe strap dialed in perfectly, it's extremely easy. All you have to do is pretty much just undo it, pull your foot out, and this thing automatically opens right up for you. And as I mentioned before, if you're in a hurry trying to get out and accidentally kick this ankle strap a little tough, it'll just flip right open for you. Just slide it back in when you get on the actual chairlift and you'll be all good there. Now, as I said before, getting in and out took me a couple tries, or a couple runs I should say, but it really wasn't that bad. The first time I had the toe strap a little bit too tight on there where I had to put some force into it, but after I figured out how to get them perfectly dialed, it was totally fine, fit perfectly, and it was really easy to get in and out. And I even went to the hike twos at Steamboat, went up to about 3 feet of fresh snow, put my board down, stomped into this thing, and I had zero problems. I was expecting the board to shift and I start sliding down the side of the face of the mountain. That did not happen whatsoever. You don't have to absolutely stomp your foot in there super hard. You can just kind of pop it in, just push down a little bit and it'll just close right up for you and hold you in there. Now, when we do talk about the actual ride of the binding, it is a little bit different than the actual regular Jones Mercuries, so we'll just go through that where, as I mentioned before, you do have a little bit more lateral play to it, and this binding isn't gonna be quite as damp as the standard Mercury is. That being said, it does cut up chatter really well. I was able to feel the fresh corduroy under my foot, but it was absorbing all of that hard, crusty stuff that we eventually did end up finding towards the end of the day. So wasn't terrible. I did go fatty to flatty off of a drop with these. I felt a little bit in my heel there, but honestly, I'm not putting that on the binding. I'm putting that on just going to flat because you never want to do that. But overall, a very comfortable binding. It absorbed the chatter really well because you do have that foam on the top and underneath as well. It's not as much foam as you're used to in a standard Jones binding, but it still does the job extremely well. Rider in mind. This binding is made for that rider that needs a responsive binding, but they just don't want to deal with those two straps where they might be riding some super technical terrain and they're like, hey, I don't want to stand at the top of this peak trying to strap in all four. I just want to be able to step in, get the two ankle straps, boom, done. This binding is definitely made for somebody looking for that more responsive ride, that more technical terrain, and pretty much just overall performance. If you're looking for a way to get involved in the Angry Snowboarder community or just want to see our reviews ahead of time, why don't you head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. Sure, I could explain it here, but we have a great video over there getting into it really in depth. When I first got this binding in my hands, I looked at it, I felt it, and I was like, oh, sweet. It's just another fast entry binding where it's gonna be great for rad dads and instructors, that sort of thing. I was wrong as hell. I'm not scared to admit that. This is a real binding. This thing, I can't stress that enough. It rides like a great responsive binding. I absolutely love these things. When I got on them, took me a couple laps, as I mentioned before, to get used to it, but after I did, once these things are on my feet, I can't tell the difference between this and say a $400, $500 binding. These things are just super solid. They design these extremely well, where me and Avran have talked about it. We pretty much said flow crawled so Nidecker Supermatic could walk, so this binding could run. This is exactly what all of those easy entry bindings have always wanted to be, and they finally figured it out. It's got the very minimal moving parts. There's no exposed moving parts like in the Supermatic, so they're dummy proof, they're idiot proof. I mean, if you mess up on these things, you really are messing up. Where I love these things. If the rep lets me keep them, I'm gonna use these as my daily drivers, my test bindings this year, just because of how much I actually like them. Comparable bindings. The Rome Katana ASIM Wrap Phase, the Bataleon Blaster ASIM Wrap Phase, and the Nidecker Supermatic. As always, I've been your host TC, and this has been my review of the new Jones Mercury FASE binding. If you're interested in more FASE technology, why don't you go check out one of the comparable bindings, and I'm sure you'll find something that you like.